Brought to you by Titan Supply, your only source for rigging, lifting, and hauling products. Visit titansupply.ca.
I'm good to go. Good to go.
With Mortgages to Go, you'll be good to go. Mortgagestogo.ca says yes when the banks say no. That's why Alberta has trusted Mortgages to Go for over 23 years. If you need cash and have equity in your home, you're approved instantly, guaranteed. Call 1-888-888-5998. That's 1-888-888-5998. With Mortgages to Go, you'll say,
I'm good to go.
Are you looking for safe and reliable transportation solutions for your wedding, corporate retreat, or golf trip? Look no further than Silent Rides, Alberta's premier charter bus company. Whether your group is big or small, Silent Rides has you covered. We offer 3 different sizes of units to cater to your needs, and we provide first-class service at affordable rates. Get your quote today. For more information and to request a quote, contact sales at 877-748-0991 or visit silentrides.ca.
Fast track your financial goals with a special rate term deposit from Vision Credit Union. For a limited time, take advantage of a great rate on 1, 3, or 5-year terms. Plus, as a Vision Credit Union member, you can earn up to 25% more on your interest through profit shares. For details, contact your branch today or visit visioncu.ca. That's visioncu.ca.
Start thinking spring road trips and off-road trips in your new Subaru Crosstrek. Stylish, rugged, and so many features. Standard on every Crosstrek. Subaru symmetrical all-wheel drive, EyeSight driver assist technology, heated seats, and LED steering responsive headlights. Plus, with interest rates from 0.99%, you'll love the affordable weekly payments. No waiting, immediate delivery available. Subaru Crosstrek. Visit Subaru.ca. Welcome to Uncommon. Welcome to Subaru.
The Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440. Can you fit Sports Encyclopedia on a business card?
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
One. Welcome to the Lowdown. It's the Friday edition of the show. Will the Oilers have Draisaitl, Hyman, Ingram, and Dickinson in the lineup opening night of the 2026 postseason? Will they have won the first Oilers division since 1987? Will the Oilers sign Russian prospect Maxim Berezkin in time for the fall? Will the Blue Jays sweep the weekend series against the Minnesota Twins? I like their chances. They're seeing a couple of weaker links in the Twins rotation. Maybe it happens. They got a big win the other night, and maybe it happens. And by the way, why is there no NHL hockey tonight? 14 games last night, 15 tomorrow night, and none today. Gary, Friday is a day. Come on now. The Lowdown is brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. It's Truck Month featuring their best deals of the year. Ask about 0% financing plus extra discounts for Costco members. WolfGMCBuick.com. We are live on YouTube and Sports 1440. iHeartRadio, Sports1440.ca, and Radio Player Canada have us live all day, every day. And after the show, Apple and Spotify podcasts were available there. We tweeted out on X too. The entire show and sometimes little vignettes as well with video. It's kind of cool. We're on Twitter at Lowetide, at Declan Krueger, and at JFenwick04. You can text anytime. We appreciate your text. You're the life of the show, the heartbeat, the blood of the show. That sounds weird, but you know what I mean. 833-401-1440. That's 833-401-1440. We have Steve Lansky coming up at 1 o'clock today talking about those Jays. He's in Toronto. He's in the center of the universe. to watch the Jays, so we'll talk to him about that. And, of course, the Edmonton Oilers. And maybe get some memories of 1987 from Steve. He was hanging around the Oilers at that time, so he always has great stories. It is time now, ladies and gentlemen, for the introductions. His ideal weekend includes Dungeons and Dragons, plenty of round ball on the tube, exciting hockey played by a team in red and white, and based on last weekend, no sleep. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Josh Fenwick. Josh Fenwick, everybody.
Yeah, we're definitely going to hit a couple of those marks this weekend for sure.
You going to get some sleep?
Nope, that is one of the marks we will be hitting because I got a long night tonight going to Japanese Village with my sister before we hit the Jube. Then my buddy turned 22 earlier this week, so we're going out for his birthday once I come back from Jubilee. And then tomorrow we got a whole whack of shows, and I'm having people over to my apartment.
What are you seeing at the Jube?
We're going to see How to Train Your Dragon in concert. So they have a live band that plays the score to the movie as it's going on. She always wanted to do that. That's her birthday present that we finally get to enjoy. Yeah. And then, but I get to go watch the Flames play live in the Dome for the first time in 18 years.
Nice.
So I'm pretty amped up for that.
I hope they play well for you.
I think they will. I don't know. They're playing the Mammoth Mackenzie Weegar return game.
Wow. Too bad they have all the Calgary Flames players.
They only really have one, right?
Should be really good.
Ryan Strome, hat trick.
His ideal weekend involves everyone using coasters, dancing around while watching basketball games. I saw that 2 weeks ago. It's kind of hilarious. Making delicious food and then putting it in containers for meals for next week. And tweets about sports and world events. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Declan Krueger. Declan Krueger, everybody.
Yeah, man. I'm not the biggest coaster guy in the world, but outside of that, nailed it.
Yeah, I threw that in there because it implies a certain neatness, which I think you do carry. I think that is sort of I've seen you come in with your lunch and it looks very well, organized and a little stylish.
Organized is a great word. I like things to be organized and in place. No question about it.
There you go. Now you're excited about Declinations that you were telling me earlier. So give us a tease on that coming up at 12:40 today.
Yeah, the Declinations today. Me and Josh put a lot of hard work into this. It's basically based off like an hour and a half podcast that we're going to try and do into 20 minutes. But essentially it is the top 5 worst situations in the NHL team-wise for the rest of the decade.
So
I got a feeling
Vancouver's in there.
I got a feeling me and Josh are going to differ on a couple.
Oh, is it going to be duels at 10 paces with pistoles?
Yeah, you never know.
The thing about this one is like there's a good argument for a lot of teams to be in that bottom 5 when you look at the rest of the decade. So it'll be interesting to see how it works out.
All right, here we go. Few things to talk about. I can't believe there's no NHL hockey tonight. The Oilers play tomorrow early in L.A., where the ghost of Ken Holland's past meets the ghost of Ken Holland's future. And I mean, I think he did a good job here. They stopped short, but what he also did was he left a legacy of no movement clauses on contracts for guys in their mid-30s. And it's not like Peter Chiarelli was, avoiding them, buyouts and such. But when Holland got here, he had the Milan Lucic mess, and it was a mess. It was almost impossible to trade that contract. And they paid dearly, and then Gary made them pay more than they agreed to, which was kind of ridiculous. But if you look at the roster now, I wrote about Vasily Podkolzin today at The Athletic. He's about to score 20 goals, and he joins a long list of 20 goal scorers who had size on the Edmonton Oilers, beginning with Mark Messier, but also including Esa Tikkanen, Ryan Smith, on down the line. Great group of players over many years. And Podkolzin is exactly what the Oilers need now, because a lot of the contracts for the no movement clauses, the Hymans, the Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, the other ones that have any length at all, those players may not be able to play feature roles by the end of those contracts. And maybe even sooner than that. And that's why Podkolzin and Savoy and hopefully Ike Howard, and I have hope for this Doc fellow too. Those cats may end up playing some skill minutes with Draisaitl and McDavid over the next few years. Podkolzin is leading the charge along with Savoy, and I think that's an important player. Last time the Edmonton Oilers won the division was 1987. I was trying to remember what I was doing in 1987. And I probably have some of the years wrong. But I used to go to the Riv Rock Room at the Riviera Mode Hotel. It seemed like Gatto was playing there all the time. I used to go to Baco Pizza. Remember Baco Pizza? It was like on Calgary Trail South, and the pizza was so damn good. And they were open, I think, till 4 a.m. Remember David's? Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure you remember a few bars. Maybe text me with the bars you remember from the 80s here in Edmonton. There was great crowd. Costello played at the university. Edmonton was a fun city in the 80s. It's more fun now because it's bigger. But it was a fun city back in the 1980s. And that's the year, 1987. The Oilers won the division and then won the Stanley Cup. Glenn Sather was mad as hell because in 86, they lost to Calgary. And everybody blamed Steve Smith, but the Oilers had all third period. If they were as good as they thought they were, they should have tied that game and then defeated Calgary either in regulation or overtime. I think this would be a really nice feather in the cap of this Edmonton Oilers organization. Look, they've been to the Stanley Cup 2 years in a row. I don't know that they're going to make it. I don't think they will. I've told that out loud into a microphone. But if they win the division, that is another like bullet point in bold that you can put on the resume of this particular McDavid, Draisaitl, Bouchard era Edmonton Oilers. I think it is. I'm not saying it's the be all and end all. And I think that they have to get better to climb that hill. I don't think they're a Stanley Cup team. But this is the idea of winning a division, no matter how weak it is, that's not really the point. Because the division sometimes will be very strong and sometimes weak. And if you're going to win it, you have to be better than everybody else. I think it does matter. And we'll see if the Edmonton Oilers agree. Because they're going to have to play really well based on what we know. I haven't read anything yet about Connor Ingram. Have you guys read anything about? Not yet. So we'll find out. Look, if we see at some point in time, Josh interrupts me or Declan does and says, yeah, they've called up Calvin Pickard, then you have your answer. It's probably going to be Jari starting and Pickard backing up, but they'll find out. I mean, the Oilers are so vague about injuries now, it's just impossible to know what's going on. But we will find out. There's Dickinson, there's Draisaitl, there's Hyman. There's a few guys now that you have to worry about. The ideal opponent for the Oilers, I think we agreed it was Anaheim. Mammoth are, if they win the division, probably playing Mammoth. And it's possible they could also play Vegas, although I don't think Anaheim's going to get out. I don't think they're going to win the division. So it's probably, based on all we know, I'd say most likely would be Anaheim. What has finished second, Anaheim third, Vegas wins it, or Mammoth. I don't know which one you prefer. Let us know. Text us when you get an opportunity. I know you're busy. Working, well, also not working because you're listening to us online. 833-401-1440. Any thoughts, boys, on the Oilers and winning the division if it's important, and maybe about the injury to Ingram and how important it is as well?
Yeah, it kind of came up the other day, and I said, like, who cares? Who cares? I don't care. It's about the playoffs, and I think they're going to get out of the Pacific side of the bracket. But, I kind of went about that a little bit more cold than I intended. Like, there is absolutely something to be said for winning the division. And I do think it's a little scathing that this team with this talent has not yet even won a division title. So there's absolutely something to be said for it and what it kind of does internally. And it's, I know they don't hang bangers for division titles, especially not the Pacific this year with how bad it's been.
Did you say
Edmonton.
banners or bangers?
Banners.
Okay.
Bangers and mash.
Mm-hmm.
Banners in Edmonton, we hang Stanley Cup banners here. So I get all that, but there is something to be said for winning the division. But my thing was just like, it's not the be all end all. Like if this team doesn't win, if this team wins the division, but goes out in the first or second round of playoffs, not a soul in the city will say, hey, that was a successful season. If they don't win the division and they make another cup run, that's kind of what it's all about. So that was my larger all encompassing point. But yeah, it's cool. Like it's crazy they haven't done it. Look at the talent they have. It should be a banner they get. It does mean something. It's just not what it's really about.
You do not think that this is a Stanley Cup finalist team though, right?
No, I mean, I try and talk myself into it a lot. And, they have some performances where I'm like, hey, maybe, what about? No, I'm sorry. Like, I look at the combined record they have against Colorado, Mini, and Dallas this year. Like, they've gotten dog walked. And people bring up Dallas and look at the last, like, it's not 23-24. It's not 24-25. Have you seen what Dallas has done to this team this season? Have you been watching the Dallas Stars outside of the games they've played against Edmonton? You could say the same thing for Minnesota, and you could say the same thing for Colorado, although I know they went into Colorado and had that good 5-4 win. But no, I don't think they're going to be a Stanley Cup final team. I know the Central always has the possibility to cannibalize themselves. I just think they are so clearly, with all respect, I just think they're so clearly a tier above Edmonton this year. And some years like that happen. So no, I hope I'm wrong, but no.
No, I think it's a different team, and it's not as good a team. And they blew it with the goaltending change. They didn't get it right, and they're going to have to fix that at some point in time. Josh, your thoughts?
Yeah, I sort of had this for avid Triple S listeners. A couple of weeks ago, I was talking to Mackenzie about the Oilers in the Stanley Cup, and this would have been after what was their worst game before the Utah game this week. This would have been a couple of weeks ago. I can't remember.
They all run together.
You know what it was? It was the Panthers game.
Oh, right. Yeah. Well, the Tampa Bay and the Panthers game were done.
Yeah. The Tampa game was that Saturday night. So I remember sitting there on Saturday morning after the Panthers game. I'm like, not good. And I looked at Mackenzie and I said, so in other words, the Edmonton Oilers are going to win the Stanley Cup this year because I can't tell you what it is. I can't tell you what made me think this or why I would ever have this thought because it made me ill. But I was sitting there watching the Panthers game and I went, holy crap. And it was a terrible game for the Oilers. But I said, there's something here. Like this is their year. For whatever reason. I could not tell you why, but I was like, they're just missing that one thing. And once they turn it on, like no one's going to stop this team. And now we've seen it with their defenses. It's on. They're focusing. They're blocking shots.
But do they have the goaltending? You can cover for goaltending against a team like San Jose.
I think we've seen it though, is that like with their team defense, essentially it's like, man, if they can just limit the high danger chances, Connor Ingram's a good enough goalie that he can stop the non-high danger chances. If he lets into a game through the playoffs, whatever. But if they're able to cut shots down to 16 to 20 a night, damn.
What was that banging sound?
Hit the keyboard behind the board here just doesn't work.
Okay. Oh, that was
Declan.
Okay.
And he's trying to get it to work.
Sorry that I asked you.
It kind of works, by the way.
Yeah.
It works every time.
It sounded like a cupboard door slamming. I should have known.
But this is what our problem with the Oilers have been the last like 3 years, basically, is their team defense. They're not always bought in. And then for whatever reason, the playoffs turn around. They're like, okay, guys, we remember how to play every facet of this game and we can get her going.
Don't you think, though, that that's sort of a damnation?
I absolutely agree. It's a damning
team?
thing. I want nothing more than to pick against the Edmonton Oilers. But for whatever reason, I cannot shake the fact that they're going to go to the Stanley Cup Finals and win in 6 over like the Buffalo Sabres.
This might be the most pleasing thing you've ever said to an Edmonton audience. You know that.
I'm aware, and I hate myself every day because of it. But like, that's sort of where I come out is like they haven't looked like the best team all year. Yeah. Everyone in the East has absolutely stomped them every time they've gone up to it. They didn't get up for the Panthers game, whatever.
No,
they have one big win all season.
They have one
big win in 80 games.
Absolutely, and that's damning. But it's not always the best team that wins the Stanley Cup, particularly not in the NHL.
If they in the final, they beat Dallas
or championship, I guess,
and then they played Florida, and the forecheck flummoxed Knobloch, and he went away from those small, little, short, astute passes through the middle because Stetcher got clobbered, and it ended up in the back of the Edmonton net. 1 goal, 1 situation, and he changed the way they were doing business. I do think that Chris Knobloch is a smart guy, and I think he would learn from that, not to change in midstream because it didn't work. But I don't think he has the horses this year. Maybe I'm wrong.
Can I ask you something, Lowetide?
Sure.
Do you think it's because you think Western Conference Finals exit is kind of their ceiling as well?
I think they could go out before then, but yes.
Okay, interesting you said that because my question to you was going to be, do you think it is more likely that they lose prior to the conference finals or that they are in fact in the Stanley Cup once again?
No, I'd say if they have to go through, let's say they play Anaheim, then Vegas, then Colorado, they could lose to Vegas. We saw Vegas play the other night here, and they've got the dead cat bounce from the coach. They got good goaltending from Carter Hart, and they're a smart team, and they are a disciplined team. Vegas can play the same game every night for 6 weeks. The Oilers can't do that. I'm pretty confident in saying that. In fact, I'll say that the Edmonton Oilers won't win the Stanley Cup until they can play consistently like a team like Vegas. And that means buy-in every night from everyone. And that means the coaching staff not changing things in midstream. It can happen. Craig McTavish changed the entire defensive style of the Edmonton Oilers just before the 2006 series against the Detroit Red Wings. And they went all the way to the final, Game 7 of the final. But I think that the Oilers, they do have a formula, as Josh says, that works. It certainly stifled San Jose. They just don't play it consistently. And that, I think, is maybe the most damning thing you can say about the Oilers. I also think they're a little bit shy in some important areas. Everybody talks about Jason Dickinson, and I think he's a real fine player, but the results have not been there since he got here in terms of 5-on-5 outscoring, and they need to be. And I think that we probably have to acknowledge the Oilers have enough injury worries around Draisaitl, Hyman, and now Connor Ingram, that those things might not all come together by the time the playoffs start. And that you just have to acknowledge it. Have you been paying attention to the Masters, boys? Anything exciting about that? Jordan Spieth seems to be doing okay.
Spieth is on fire. He's looking great out there, which, that's sort of just the story of Jordan Spieth. Looks good. Sunday comes around, falls apart. But there's that. Scotty got off to a bad start. He hasn't really been on the coverage around this morning, but I know that he started off with par, bogey to go to even, which isn't ideal. Brooks Koepka is a little in the mix, and Wyndham Clark had an incredibly hot start, and now Rory McIlroy takes the lead.
All he needed was for you to talk about him on the air.
Rory?
Yeah.
I mean, he's the best. I love Rory. He's great. I was damn near in tears when he won the Masters last year. I've been rooting for that guy to win the Masters for like a decade.
It's funny about sports. Don't know what year it was, but Greg Norman absolutely stepped into the elevator shaft, and Nick Faldo ended up winning. And the story Faldo told was that he was crying. He was crying walking up the 18th, apologizing to Norman because he felt so bad for him, a fellow competitor who just fell apart. He just did. Those are amazing moments in sports, and golf is a kind of a weird sport in that, it's not like you're, chasing after somebody and nobody 6'10" is going to knock you on your ass, but it is extreme discipline. And I don't know. I'd like Rory to win. I like Rory. I like Spieth. And of course, Tom Weisskopf is my choice. Okay. On the way, we have rumors, declinations. Declan is going to, and Josh is going to give what is it now? The 5 worst futures?
The 5 worst situations for the rest of the decade.
Right. Okay. All right. And we've got Lansky coming up at 1 o'clock. This is the Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube.
Partner for all things branded merch and apparel. Thousands of products perfect for businesses, sports teams, and corporate events. Fusion with a Z. Promomarketing.ca.
Nothing beats getting a deal at McDonald's. Why? Because you get a deal now.
And a deal later.
Redeem an offer from the latest mailer or on the McDonald's app and dig into instant savings. Plus, you earn points towards
free McDonald's.
Now that's what I call
a double whammy of deals.
Why does that keep happening? Deals sent right to your door. Check your mailbox for the latest McDonald's mailer loaded with delicious value. For a limited time at participating restaurants in Western Canada.
Andrew Walker, host of the postgame show on Sports 1440. After every hockey game this season, tune in and chime in as we talk about the game. It's all sponsored by Legacy Heating and Cooling. Don't get left in the cold. Visit legacyheating.ca.
At Fountain Tire, the savings come in threes. Up to 25% off select tires, a mail-in rebate of up to $100 off a set of 4 select tires, and $50 off a $150 service. We're basically the BLT of savings. Until April 25th. Restrictions apply. Book today.
Fast track your financial goals with a special rate term deposit from Vision Credit Union. For a limited time, take advantage of a great rate on 1, 3, or 5-year terms. Plus, as a Vision Credit Union member, you can earn up to 25% more on your interest through profit shares. For details, contact your branch today or visit visioncu.ca. That's visioncu.ca.
At Metal Supermarkets, they're all about value added. In addition to a warehouse bursting with steel, aluminum, all the good stuff, and cut fast, they offer a ton of value added services: metal bending, drilling, punching, notching, welding, and back hair waxing. Oh, sorry, I meant plasma cutting. Anybody seen my glasses? Metal Supermarkets, the convenience stores for... And value-added options, too, even delivery. Southside, West End, metalsupermarkets.com.
The Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440. Can you fit Sports Encyclopedia on a business card?
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
It's 12:23. This is the Lowdown on Sports 1440. We're brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. Check them out, wolfgmcbuick.com. It's truck month. Good time to do it. All right, a few things that we will pass along to you. Edmonton Oilers play in Los Angeles tomorrow. Chance to extend their slender, we're going to go with slender today, points lead over Anaheim and Vegas. And we'll see, but there's an opportunity for them to win the division, the first one since 1987. We've been talking about it really all winter and into the spring. And I don't know. I feel like this is an opportunity for this Edmonton Oilers organization to give one more thing during the McDavid Draisaitl era, one more where now they got to win a Stanley Cup. We understand that, but they've been to 2 Stanley Cup finals, gone deep in both of them. And this is just another level, and we'll see if it means anything in the postseason. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins has been nominated for the 2026 King Clancy Trophy, which is very cool. Nuge is at that point in his career where, you're starting to talk about legacy and, what we'll think of him. We'll all love him because, I think he's been in the league since 2011 and started to shave, 3 weeks ago? Something like that. I'm teasing. But he is a guy who has been a solid warrior and soldier for this team. I always use this as an example. But when Taylor Hall was going to move to center, it was a big deal. He was going to do his best. No guarantees or anything. And it was a big media event and asked him for several weeks in a row. And when Nuge had to move anywhere, it's like, I'm get used to it. You probably give me 3-4 shifts. Just a different attitude. And he always had that attitude. And I loved him for it. I always thought that was so cool because he's a great player, a 200-foot player on a team that doesn't have many. And he stood out in different ways. A power play witch. He'd be the top power play option on damn near any team. But he happened to play most of his career with McDavid and Draisaitl. So he's like the third passing option, which is just cruel. That's a cruel fate. But Nuge never bitched or moaned about it. I'm sure he has a fine ego, but it just doesn't, he's not wired in a particular way. And I appreciate him. And I think that's a really cool thing that he's up for the Clancy Award. Rumors running rampant about all the injuries. From what we know, Draisaitl soon after the start of the playoffs or for the playoffs. Hyman will play sometime soon, and we don't know yet. We're hoping to find out today when they hit the ice about Dickinson. It looked really bad. And about Ingram, which was kind of vague, right? Not really sure. Sounded like it was precautionary. You never know in hockey. So hopefully we'll get a little more information about that. I mentioned earlier at the top of the show about the Oilers, and they've been signing some, college and European free agents. One guy they drafted, Maxim Bereskin, a big man with good hands, has played in the KHL for several years. He was a hero of the Gagarin Cup in the spring of 2025. Decided to go back for one more year. The latest from Stan Bowman via our friend Bob. Hi, Bob. Is that he may be coming over. And that would be very interesting for this team in the fall. This I don't understand. Somebody's going to have to explain it to me. New York Islanders may retain Patrick Waugh in a scouting role. And I don't like this, and here's why. You've moved on from the coach, and now you're retaining him in a different role. So that tells me that there's still the specter or the idea that he could return as coach. I don't like it. I think you've got to, in business, you make a decision, you make your call, and then you escort the person to the door, you take their card, and then they are not there anymore. That's what I would prefer has happened to me. And I think that's what management and companies should prefer to. Do you guys think that's a good idea? I don't.
It seems a little like we're trying to do, but it seems like a little like, hey, we're trying to do right by you, but it's like, well, what's the point? Like, you fired him.
Exactly. And just move on. We're not all, made of fine china. We can take it,
Yeah. Patrick Waugh, notorious for taking things well.
I have avoided talking about the Toronto Maple Leafs because I don't feel I deserve to smile that much. But this summer is going to be really interesting. If they get an analytics guy in there and they don't have like toughness from top to bottom, if they get a bunch of skill guys in there, I think Toronto will melt, and I can't wait. I really seriously can't wait. They were talking about Sonny Mehta yesterday. It's like, I would love to see that, because it's not like, this is not an easy build here. This is not an easy fix in Toronto. But I think your best chance of doing it is finding good hockey men and then finding somebody who can read the tea leaves of the analytics properly. And if you do that, I don't think it'll take forever to turn it around. I don't know about a Stanley Cup. And you also have to have people in the coaching staff and in management who listen to the analytics people. And that's why a guy like Sonny Mehta would be, I think, a really good candidate. If you're a baseball fan, Seiya Suzuki is back, activated by the Cubs. You remember at the World Baseball, he had the weirdest slide ever, and he hurt himself, and now he's back. I don't think he's going to play tonight, but he'll be back probably over the weekend. The Jays play Minnesota. Simeon Woods Richardson will be the opponent tonight on the mound. They got a good chance here, I think, to right the ship a little bit. The thing you worry about in the AL East, because it's just it's like the group of death most years. Some years it isn't, but the Yankees are 8-4 because they lost a couple of times to the Athletics. Orioles are 6-6, Rays 5-7, Jays 5-7, and the Red Sox 4-8. The only team that you probably are a little worried about are the Bo Sox, because they don't look right. Their pitching isn't great. Their young phenom Roman Anthony is taking all kinds of flack for not hitting and also throwing the ball wildly. You don't want that to get out of control. Caleb Durbin, their third baseman, isn't hitting a lick. Kind of weird happenings there. The Angels are 6-7 right now, and that is an upset. Like they're a game and a half out of first, and it's April. This is a shock. The Tigers suck. I watch them a lot. I like the Tigers. They're not playing well at all. They're 4-9.
They just got swept by the Twins, didn't they?
Yeah.
That's brutal.
Right?
It's really bad.
Not a good team.
But also, they wanted to get rid of Tariq Skubal, so maybe they don't deserve to be good.
There you go. Dodgers are 9-3. Jeez. They got 15 starting pitchers. 9 of them are hurt, and they're 9-3. That's going to be an interesting division because the Diamondbacks and Padres are 7-6. Rockies are 6-7. What the hell's going on with the bottom feeders? And then the Giants with an interesting manager. I don't know if he's going to last. He reminded me of Tom Runnels when he was with the Expos, doing some strange things. The NL Central has the Brewers at 8-4 at the top, and the Cubs at 6-6 at the bottom. So they're all bunched together. Nothing has been decided through a couple of weeks in that division, as per usual. This is from Propane Pimp. Question regarding a fully healthy Oilers lineup. Where does 93 play once everyone is back? He isn't a top-line winger or center anymore. Is third left wing his best spot now? Well, he plays capably with McDavid. You can play him up there, and you could put Podkolzin on the second line on left wing. So, I mean, I think he can play there, and he's a wonderful two-way player. He can be the defensive conscience on the McDavid line. They just weren't. The last time we saw that line, they were kind of, meh. They weren't scoring much. So they went away from it, and now they've got these, new, fresh line mates who are Leon's old guys in Podkolzin and Savoy, and they're playing well with McDavid. So if they decide to do that, I assume that Nuge would check down with Leon because I think Jason Dickinson is the third line center. Maybe that's just me. Maybe Henrique would be the fourth line center. I like Henrique's game lately. He was not healthy, folks, at the beginning of the year. He looks like a different player out there, and he's setting up guys. Set up Lazar the other night, gorgeous goal. If they can get like Draisaitl, Hyman, Dickinson, and Ingram back healthy, I like the lines, and I'm okay with the pairings. Just okay with the pairings. Because I think they're playing Nurse and Murphy too much at 5-on-5. I know they like the truculence of that pairing, but they're playing them a lot. And there's penalties that are rising, and we'll see how that goes. Anything in the NFL or NBA that we should talk about? I'm looking that I'm not finding.
No, I don't know, Deck. Maybe you're a little more plugged in.
Well,
your Heat lost 2 times in a row to my Raptors.
Yeah, mid-team. What are you going to do? By the way, no, you can't even get me started. I'm just going to go in on Pele Larson with his pet little crossover to the rim and then having the same layup package as me. I'm not going to do that. We did release Terry Rozier today.
And how does that feel?
So if you remember, Terry Rozier was one of the ones arrested at the same time as Chauncey Billups for point shaving, throwing games, illegal gambling, things like that. Terry Rozier, this is how I've always described Terry Rozier. Prior to this season, he was the Miami Heat's version of Evan Bouchard. And Bouch has kind of blown that narrative out of the water this year because he's in the Norris race, and deservedly so. And I think he's honestly going to be a finalist, and again, deservedly so. Terry Rozier is not that type of player at all, but he's always been a super skilled player who will do some very good high end things with some real talent. But he is just like mistake prone. Will take the worst shots you've ever seen, brick everything. Like Miami Heat fans treat him the same way prior to this season. Oilers fans did with Evan Bouchard, but he's not as good. And following the gambling scandal, they finally released him. So big day for the Miami Heat.
And the reason they kept him around was because they might have been able to use his contract in a deal kind of thing, right?
Yes, so he was able to be moved with this whole thing.
Okay. Yeah.
Which is crazy
Insane.
in and of itself, but we won't get into that. Yeah. Other than that, listen, playoff picture's getting pretty set. The Heat will probably get out of the play-in as they always do, and probably get shellacked in the first round as they always do. So a lot to look forward to for me. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, still no triple-double this season. That's whatever. And yeah.
Okay, but not everyone gets triple-double.
Well,
not everyone is Nikola
Kennard
Jokic.
did. Luke Kennard does. He's got one this year. Jason Tatum in 13 games has one.
Congratulations.
It's not for everyone.
It's just not his. It's
triple
just not
doubles
his
aren't
game.
for everyone. Yeah. No.
Also, the Thunder can't rebound.
Thunder. It's true. The Thunder cannot rebound. Listen, I think he's going to be a top 5 guard ever, but I don't like what he does.
So could they, as flawed as they are in the rebound department, can they win the championship?
I mean, they can.
yeah.
They won it last year.
I think
but,
they're still the favorite.
Oh yeah, no, they're the betting favorite for a reason. But that was close. But they're the betting favorite for a reason. But I think I see a world more likely this year than last year where they lose before they get to the finals.
Now, are you wish casting here? Is that what the kids call it?
I just saying, like, from the games that I've seen against the teams that they will be matching up with in the playoffs, not loving those games. I mean, I'm going to love them to watch them because those are going to be some unreal 7-game series, but like they have some serious deficiencies. And if they are closing, if the teams they play against, specifically like the Spurs, if they lock down the inside, I don't trust a lot of guys on their team to make outside shots.
I just want to say,
Oh, they got guys who can make. Lou Dort's going to go 4 for 4. You know it's going to happen.
Oh yeah, it'll happen. But like,
it's going to be disgusting.
Can he go
It'll
4
happen.
for 4 7 games in a row?
Dude,
I don't think so.
If he didn't have to, no. When he has to, you bet he will.
I just want to say that the odds of me getting one of the modern young people phrases correct, like wish casting, are very low, but I appear to have done it. That's
Good job.
exactly, it's the act of predicting or interpreting future events based on personal desires, which we see as obvious with Josh.
Another word, manifesting.
Yes, I would recognize that one a little quicker.
Really? Are you sure?
Okay. On the way, it's Declinations. We're talking top 5 troubled futures for National Hockey League teams over the next 5 years or so. Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube.
Top of the zone. Now he'll swing out of the zone and switch sides with Troy Terry. Don Carlson leans into a one-timer. Hat trick.
You could see the intent of the moment they won that. Annette McCarron there for support. Taken away by Robertson. Lindell walks it in. Across to Robertson. Shoots. Dallas has the lead.
Now the drop pass, the steal, Bronny, son to father, LeBron James.
How many times you see they probably worked on that in the backyard? I mean,
Now the drop pass, the steal, Bronny.
Catch every second of the action. Not a bad seat in the house, tons of big screens, and a menu with something for all you hungry hockey fans. Plus, game night food and drink features and Oilers watch parties. So, catch the final regular season battles. Then, every playoff face-off at Selly's Sports Bar and Lounge at all 3 Century Casino locations, Edmonton, St. Albert, and Century Mall.
Every day is game day at Century Sports Bar and Lounge.
Fast track your financial goals with a special rate term deposit from Vision Credit Union. For a limited time, take advantage of a great rate on 1, 3, or 5-year terms. Plus, as a Vision Credit Union member, you can earn up to 25% more on your interest through profit shares. For details, contact your branch today or visit visioncu.ca. That's visioncu.ca.
You probably know Stingray for radio advertising.
What about digital advertising?
Yeah, we do that.
Connected TV?
We do that.
Search and social?
And that.
Programmatic? Digital out of home?
We do it all. Endless digital platforms to connect your business to more customers, to intrigue them, engage them, so they choose your product or service. Get started now at stingraymediasolutions.com and let us help your business grow. We are Stingray. That's what we do.
He's the only person to win an arm wrestling contest with the Philly Fanatic. The Lowdown with Lowetide, now on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
This is the Lowdown on Sports 1440, brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick, 1241. Beautiful spring day. Absolutely gorgeous. Steve Lansky will join us at 1 o'clock from some parking lot in Toronto to talk about the Oilers and the Toronto Blue Jays. Right now, though, it's time for Declinations, brought to you by Fairway Divorce Solutions. The clear road to a new life. There is a better way. Fairwaydivorce.com. With that, Declan, what do you two have up for us today?
Okay, we have the top 5 worst situations for the rest of the decade.
Giddy up.
I think how this one would work better. Like, I'll give my 5, then Josh can give his 5 instead of going the back and forth. So we have a chance to kind of get into the to the flow of it a little bit.
Works for me.
All right, my number 5, and again, top 5 worst NHL team situations for the rest of the decade. And I also want to be clear of something. I am not as involved in the prospect world when it comes to the NHL as maybe I am with some other sports, football and basketball namely. So it's possible I'm missing some glaring prospects these guys have, but you're just going to have to live with that. Number 5, I have the New York Rangers. They got $24 million tied up in Mika, JT, and Alexis Lafreniere. I know Alexis Lafreniere is young, but at a point, it's like, yeah, we're paying you this money and you're, 20 goals is nice here. You're sitting at 55 points through 80 games on the season. Like Igor Shesterkin, I think he's a great goalie, but 11.5 is a lot to pay a goalie on a losing team. And it's like, yeah, you can trade him, but so then what? So then now, like, you just don't have a goalie. Like, he has that full no move. As much as I like Adam Fox, I don't think he's on the same level of some of the elite level defensemen, the Bouchards, the Makars, the Werenskis, the Hugheses. Listen, it's not the worst situation of any team in the NHL for the rest of the decade, but I don't exactly think it's an enviable position. JT, there's some of the worst body language you've ever seen from a captain. Him and Mika both getting older. And I talked about the 24 million tied up in them. Like, yes, the salary cap is going up. That's not nothing to pay those guys. So I have them at my number 5.
Okay.
Number 4, I have the LA Kings. I don't think the LA Kings are going to be a team that are, like missing the playoffs for the next four seasons or whatever it's going to be. But like, when I just look at them, they're a boring kind of defensive minded team whose ceiling seems to always be the second round, no matter what. And yes, you went out and got Artemi Panarin to kind of address some offense. He's going to be 36 by the end of his deal. Fiala and Kempe, they're making 18.5 until 2029. Kempe's actually under contract till 2034. Again, it's not like that's that huge of a number or anything. But for that, you're kind of like, what are we getting here? And those are 2 good players, don't get me wrong. But again, there's just not elite level players. Byfield, again, not a bad player, but I think we've all kind of expected a little bit more.
He has not developed.
Yeah, 6.2. Like, that's not nothing. They got another year of Drew Doughty at 11 million. That's going to kind of pause a reset. They got Cody Ceci on the books. Not that it's a crazy AAV until 2029. Like, my thing is just, this team might be in the playoffs. They might be in the playoff hunt, but their ceiling of ceilings every year seems to be the second round. And they're not, if that, like, obviously they've lost to the Oilers in the first round for 4 straight years. But like, with that happening, like, yes, there's something to be said for that, but you can't even really start a reset. So that's why I have them at number 4.
Yeah. And they're doing what Holland did here. They're signing guys to long-term deals who are too old. It hurts.
At number 3, I kind of fought with this one because I've actually sat here and defended them. And listen, I'll be honest. If you strip down a team, if you strip down all the teams in the NHL to just 2 skaters, there aren't too many teams that are in a better position than the Toronto Maple Leafs in terms of just 2 skaters. Like, yes, Edmonton, Colorado, Dallas, probably still Tampa. But it's not just a team of 2 skaters. It's not just Matthews and William Nylander. It's a full team. And you're going to have to make an Austin Matthews decision here. So even if you do pay him, like, let's say you give him 15 million, all of a sudden you got 33 million on the books with him, Nylander, and Nyes. We've kind of seen how this story works out in the playoffs. Like, it hasn't exactly been a ringing endorsement of playoff success for this team. Obviously, Marner was a part of that. He's not there anymore, but still, like, John Tavares is on the books until 29. Morgan Riley's getting 7.5 until 2030. Jake McCabe is on contract until 2030. Chris Tanev, too, is on the books with like a full no move. Like, there are a lot of, it's not the worst anchors you could have, but it does still seem to be a lot of anchors. And the big one kind of hanging over the head is like, what do we do with Nylander and Matthews? Like, do we keep them? There's something to be said for keeping them. And if you start a reset, it's like, you have to look at the last decade as a waste, even though they maybe sold some tickets and Matthews won a Hart. It's like we won 2 rounds in all this time. We have nothing to show for it. We're going into a reset, and we're going into a reset with kind of some anchors as contracts, some contracts as anchors. So I have them number 3.
Okay.
Number 2, I didn't want to do it. I wanted to keep them off.
Ladies and gentlemen, prepare.
I actually,
this is unreal.
And not even
this is going to be fun.
Someone here doesn't know puck.
I
and it's
tried
not
to
your
move them
ILT.
from number 2. Because here's the thing about Calgary.
I told him not to.
I actually think they have some more redeemable qualities than all the teams I've listed in Dustin Wolf and Zane Parik. But I look at like Matt Coronado and Igor Sharangovich, both under contract until what is it, 2032, I think it is, for both of them.
Long time.
Not that they're getting crazy cap hits, but like you're kind of hitching your wagon to, excuse me, but pretty mid players. Kevin Ball as well until 2031. Like I don't think you've loved what you've seen out of him. And then
big body.
One of the biggest contract anchors in Jonathan Huberdeau at 10-5. And here's the thing, like, because the team that comes in at number 1, I was talking to Brandon and Connor about it out in the hall, and they said, what if they get McKenna? And like you could say, like, what if Calgary gets Gavin McKenna? They are still so far away, I feel like. Like, look at Bedard with Chicago. And Macklin, credit to Macklin, he's really fast-tracked that reset there in San Jose. But I think even if they do get like a Gavin McKenna or a bona fide number, like look at the Islanders with Matthew Schaefer. He was the only reason I kept them off this list. And even them, like they're not looking like they're going to end up making the playoffs after all. So even if you get that guy in Gavin McKenna, it still feels like they're at least 3 years away from making anything work. They have a goaltender. I give them that for sure. They have some redeemable pieces. They also have some anchors, and I just don't think they have a lot of direction, and that's why they're my number 2.
Well, I would just say that I think that's I would push back on that one.
Okay.
Just on that one example.
I would push back on it too, not just because I'm a Flames fan, but I am a Flames fan, and I do listen to a lot of the stuff that specifically like a guy like Ryan Pike puts out, because he's very in tune with what's going on. And if you go back and read, I believe it's Daily Face-Off, they're going through prospects and everybody's systems. I believe Calgary is ranked 3rd in that.
Okay.
They have a prospect, Ethan Wittenbach, who's a Hope Baker finalist. My problem really with the Flames comes down to center depth, because that's really it for me. Is we need that bona fide number 1, because I think, again, playing the what if game, if they get Gavin McKenna, I'm not sold they're going to get Gavin McKenna because I'm not that lucky. But they were like, he needs that bona fide center. He doesn't need to be like, Connor McDavid or whatever, but just like someone passable.
The downbeats are that this kid they've got, the young defenseman is going to be
Parik.
Right.
He's a young Bouchard.
Right, but he's going to be like a year before he can. You've got to give him a little time. But he's going to be really good. And then I do think they're a smart organization, and I don't think they're going to crap the draft picks. I think they're going to get it right.
And I would give a lot of credit. We have a lot of draft picks here.
But then Declan says 5 years, and so what if it's 3 or 4? Right? I think it'll be sooner than that. But I do see his point.
Stanley Cup champs.
Yeah. Okay. Well, but I think that Declan has a point. I think that I trust Conroy.
Yeah, like
they're a very well run.
Even if you disagree, which is fair, you see where it's coming
I see
from.
where it's coming from.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I just don't know if I would put it in the top 5.
That's fair.
When I look around the league.
Yeah. No, on my number 1, just to wrap it up, I think it's pretty obvious. I have Vancouver. It's 24.7 million tied up in Pettersson, Besser, and DeBrusk, 12.8 in Hronek and Pettersson. I actually like Philip Hronek, but like 37.5 is a lot to have tied up in 5 players who are all pretty collectively mid at best. And we talk about that Huberdeau contract being an anchor. Pettersson's that might be the worst one and feels immovable. They also have, like, all of those guys have some type of no move, whether it's a full no move or a modified no trade. They also have 8.5 paid to Demko, who's a good goalie. It's not until 2030, but he's always hurt. They just have no direction. They have nothing in the prospect pool. They see him as a front office and as management completely out of whack and disorganized. I think it was a pretty obvious number 1, the Vancouver Canucks' worst situation for the rest of the decade.
It's funny because the Canucks, they had maybe the best, kindest, most intelligent owner in Arthur Griffiths, and he ended up having to sell the team because of the arena, and he had a lot of investment, and the Canadian dollar sewered him. And then they have the Aquilinis, and the Aquilinis are not good hockey owners, and that's their problem. I don't know how you get rid of an owner if you're a franchise fan base.
That's a tough one. Yeah, my number 5 is the Los Angeles Kings. I don't really have to go in that deep on it because Declan did, but like Ken Holland likes to spend money on the wrong guys. I worked with you on Free Agent Frenzy this year, and you were like, he blew through $10 million
He's just on old
5
guys.
minutes on old guys. Like he's going to people that he trusts, but those people that he trusts are getting older. Kopitar's done at the end of this year. He's never coming back. Doughty is not the defender he once was. I agree about the Quentin Byfield thing. He's not everything he was chalked up to be, as much as I like Adrian Kempe and I like
Kevin Fiala.
And Kevin Fiala's basically got a broken leg. Like, what's he going to look like when he comes back? I just don't like a lot of what they had. We had Dennis Bernstein on the morning show this morning, and he's like, we have some serious problems at center. In case you guys didn't know, that's like the second most important position in hockey behind goalie. And Darcy Kemper, who in years past has been a good goalie, is on the books for only 2 more years. And I think he's showing signs of regression. They don't look good, and they can't win games in regulation. The only bright spot I think they really have is, yes, the play of Adrian Kempe. And now, oh my God, I don't have his name right in front of me and I'm blanking on it. They just traded for him. This is so embarrassing. He's
Panarin?
a superstar. There we go. Panarin. I could not remember.
You're hanging around with me too much. That's
I guess
what's
so.
happening there, yeah.
And Panarin, who's fun, but like, come on. If that's your only bright spot, I got some problems.
I will say this, that you this summer or next, but one of the next 2 summers, you're going to know the most intelligent general manager in the NHL. You know why? They're going to trade for Quentin Byfield. He just needs a change of scenery.
Come on home to Calgary, baby. My number 4, I have the Columbus Blue Jackets. I think we saw what they were this year before Bonus came in. Yeah. Obviously, they are hindered in a little bit. They obviously had Johnny Gaudreau on their books, and he, of course, sadly passed away. And that is a franchise-changing player. Not with you anymore, unfortunately, but like Werenski's really their only guy. And Bonus he came out of retirement to coach the Blue Jackets. Who knows how long he's going to be on the bench for?
Yeah.
But I think without him, they're in some serious trouble. I don't like some of their prospects. I don't like who they have in goal. And Provorov, you're giving him $8.5 million for. That's a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I just. They've got some cap space, so maybe they'll make something happen. But I just don't really like the future for Columbus. My number 3. This is the second time the Oilers fans are going to be happy with me today. I have the Florida Panthers.
Oh, nice.
You know what's crazy? Just to interject really, really quickly, I thought about them. I did, but my thing is, and I know I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth because I said like 8 times it's till the end of the decade.
Yeah.
Even still, though, those 2 cups fix a lot.
Those 2 cups.
Oh no, you're right.
Yeah,
you are right.
They fix a lot, and you get a lot of grace with those from the 13 Panthers fans that exist or whatever. But they have a lot of old guys on contract until the end of the decade. I mean, like Barkov 2030, Kachuk 2030, Reinhardt 32, Bennett 33, Verhaeghe 33, Brad Marchand 31, and then Anton Lundell's not that old. But I like Sam Bennett. He's really the only one that's been able to stay healthy through this entire court. Like the people that you're giving all the money to are hurt. And we see what they are this year. We see how strong the East is constantly every year because that's where the Russian players want to play. And Russian players are really, really good. And as much as I like Paul Maurice and I like Bill Zito, I just think and Aaron Ekblad is an absolute mess in my opinion.
He's like Ekblad's got a lot of miles on him.
Ekblad also has a lot of miles on him because like they're a constantly hurt team that yes, they've won 2 cups, but like looking to the future, their guy is Matthew Tkachuk and Sam Bennett.
They're going to have lots of stories, and they're never going to buy a drink in Sunrise, which is a population of 11 people. But they are not. The bloom is off the rose. They did everything they could to beat the Oilers, and they did it twice.
Yep.
And now
I think they're done.
Yeah, I agree.
They're going to go back to being the same old Florida Panthers, IMO, if not slightly worse. My number 2, again, touched on already, the Toronto Maple Leafs. This to me is like, yep, you got to decide what you're going to do with Matthews. Got to decide what you're going to do with Nylander. You're probably keeping eyes around They have no prospects.
No, they've got goalies. They've got a couple of goalies,
but they got nothing on the other side.
No
of the
skill.
puck. No skill at all.
No.
And
they have grinders who aren't grinders.
That's
Exactly.
right. And
That's
it's
a great point.
aggravating, and they know better. It's almost like that Dubas left and they said, let's not do anything he'd do.
Yep.
And now you're here.
And now you're getting off the Brad Living train, and you've hired an outside firm, an agency, to basically hire their own their own prospects or whatever to come and work for the Leafs.
Right.
This is what's about to happen. Rogers is a mess. They don't really care about the Leafs all that much.
Well,
personally.
they care about the ratings.
They care about the ratings, absolutely. And we're talking about a entire city that does not want to see that. Like, could you imagine the next GM going, all right, guys, we've traded Austin Matthews.
Well,
Toronto will burn down.
Yeah. I actually think that if they play their cards right, then
maybe they can find a way out of this.
Right. But the ideal thing to do, and they won't do it, but the ideal thing to do is to trade him and then hire your GM.
Yeah.
Because whoever trades him is like, you gotta move.
Yeah. Because you're gonna get doxxed and you're gonna have all this stuff and whatever. But yeah, so it's just like a lose-lose situation in Toronto right now. And if they just stay the course of what they're doing, they're just gonna be this middling team like they were this year. And my number one, need I say more? They're minus 100 this year. They're actually minus 98, but the Vancouver Canucks, they are rotten from the roots of this organization. And I have no idea what they're going to do. Like, Brock Besser got paid, and now he's the same thing as Elias Lindholm, basically. And Jake DeBrusk is a power play merchant.
Yeah. The last good thing that happened to the Canucks was Orland Kurtenbach. It's just a mess. It really is.
Quinn Hughes wasn't bad.
No,
Quinn Hughes was pretty good, but you traded your captain this year.
But did you hear what Quinn Hughes is saying about the Canucks?
Yeah,
oh my God.
He was the captain of your organization. You traded him. He's like, man, sure glad I got out of there.
And then he took the side against the guy that they kept. I mean, it's just a nightmare scenario.
It's really bad. So yeah, not all is well in Vancouver, and like I cannot see any bright spots at the end of the decade.
All right, 12:58. We've gone long, but it was a really interesting conversation. I thank you, gentlemen. That was really good. On the way, it's Steve Lansky. Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube. Time for an update.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
Brought to you by Custom Floors Inc. Floors and right for homes or businesses. Visit the new showroom, 115-771 49th Street now. Open 6 days a week, Saturday hours from 10 to 2. And you can visit customfloorsinc.ca and bring your next flooring project to life. Masters scores. Roy McIlroy, the leader, 8 under, 3 under on the day through 4 holes. Justin Rose and Sam Burns, both 5 under, tied for second. The highest ranked Canadian in the field is Nick Taylor. He is even through 8 on the day, tied for 21st overall. NBA action will see the Detroit Pistons and Charlotte Hornets tip off at 5, as will the Miami Heat and Washington Wizards. The late game tonight in the league, we'll see the Phoenix Suns in LA to take on the Lakers. MLB scores right now, Pirates and Cubs tied 0-0. Diamondbacks and Phillies will get going at 4:40, and the Blue Jays will be playing host to the Minnesota Twins at 5:07. Corbin on the mound for that one. BCHL playoffs tonight. Sherwood Park Crusaders in Blackfalds. They lead their series 3-1, 7 p.m. puck drop for that one. And one game in the AJ, Whitecourt and Grand Prairie from JDA Place out in Whitecourt. That series tied 2-2. I'm Declan Krueger. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, Stingray radio station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Japa Machinery Group knows that XCMG may not roll off the tongue, but Japa's team will help keep your construction jobs rolling on time and on budget with heavy equipment sales and rentals. Visit japamachinery.com to find out more.
Getting your vehicle sparkling clean doesn't have to cost a fortune. Take it into Hughes today and pay just loonies a wash.
Find us at HughesCarWash.com.
It's Truck Month at Wolf GMC Buick, and we know trucks. And we have the best deals of the year right now. Some have 0% for 4 years. We have 0% for 6 years. That's on our #1 selling GMC Sierra half-ton crew cab, or the Elevation, the AT4, or Denali. Yep, 0% for 72 months. And Costco members get an extra discount on some of our SUVs. Pop in today and drive away smiling. Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
This hockey season, before every game, check out the pregame show with Andrew Walker on Sports 1440. It's brought to you by Titan Supply, your only source for rigging, lifting, and hauling products. Visit titansupply.ca.
Do you listen to sports radio at work? Like right now? Well, do you?
Who, me? No way. I swear.
Okay, friend, we won't tell. Tens of thousands of sports fans listen to Sports 1440 each and every day. On the radio, on the listening apps, on YouTube, and on social media. If you listen to Sports 1440 at work, well, maybe it's time to advertise on Sports 1440 at work. Grow your business, get your name out there. Shoot our ad team an email, Gregor@sports1440.ca. Let's get to work for you.
At Fountain Tire, the savings come in threes. Up to 25% off select tires, a mail-in rebate of up to $100 off a set of 4 select tires, and $50 off $150 service. We're basically the VLT of savings until April 25th. Restrictions apply. Book today.
Here's the Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
It's the Lowdown on Sports 1440 for Wolf GMC Buick. It's Truck Month featuring their best deals of the year. Ask about 0% financing plus extra discounts for Costco members. WolfGMCBuick.com. You know, during the time that I've hosted the Lowdown, which is a long time now that I think of it, there have been some memorable interviews. Many of them happened in Toronto, and all of those involved Steve Lansky somewhere on Yonge Street being yelled at or horns honking. I'm hoping we've got him somewhere in Toronto right now. Lansky, how are you? All right. He's got cell phone on mute. Do you, Steve? Two old men talking technology is not what we were hoping for. Okay, we're going to give him a call. No, look, Steve has, he's seen the 70s. So, he's probably partying since the mid 70s. Age is a thing, it tends to wear one down. They won't let me operate the board. The producers here, if I make one quick movement towards the radio station cord, which is a giant, if you don't know about radio, there's a giant cord that holds everything. If you unplug it, the station just goes away. I'm lying, but I can't touch the equipment. As I said that, I realize it might have different meanings, but it is true. All right. Adding the Flames issues, they will be seeing Anaheim and San Jose, the upswing, if in Edmonton and Vegas are to fall off from Propane Pimp. It's true. This division, the future of this division is in California. I think most people think that. I certainly do. Anaheim and San Jose look very good. Yes. All right. Okay. Well, I think we're close to getting Steve now. Are we close to getting Steve now? Okay. Steve, how are you?
Good. How are you? Can you hear me now?
I can, as a matter of fact. I did a big, long intro about you being interviewed on streets of Toronto and people yelling at you and honking horns. I'm hoping that's happening now. Okay. Lowetide's getting upset. Well, it's Toronto, I mean, come on now. There's they've got 2 airports. They got a lot of communications companies, 63 radio stations, 15 television stations, some guy on YouTube on a banana bike. There's lots happening in Toronto that could be causing this. Maybe it's a sunspot. Maybe I blame the 401. That's what I blame. All right. All right. Do we have him now? Okay, we got him on a different line. We're going to try again. Steve, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very well, Steve. I'm looking forward to talking to you and having you answer me. That hasn't happened yet, so I'm looking forward to it. Are you?
No, I have answered you. You just haven't.
Okay.
I've been sitting in the same chair with my feet up the whole time.
All right. Okay. Well, let me ask you, because we've done some wild interviews with you on the street, on Yonge Street, people yelling at you, honking horns, saying bad things, and calling you Lansky, which I thought was derisive but fun. So, are how is it in Toronto right now? Are there legions of people outside with picket signs because you're going to working media?
No, I'm sitting with my feet up in beautiful North York, watching the Masters on a giant screen, having just dropped my wife and son off at the One of a Kind craft show. So it's a lovely day.
There you go. Rory looks good.
Rory does look good. Rory, once you win it once, it's amazing. You figured out that, hey, I can actually win this thing. And then you become.
Yeah, I don't know why, but the brain goes back to moments that are heartbreaking, like Greg Norman with Nick Faldo as an example. Phil, I think it was at the U.S. Open when he hammers one off the Quonset hut. But I do love to watch great golf. And the Masters is such. I mean, I can just watch the azaleas and listen to the wind rush through the trees, and I'm excited about the Masters. It really is a unique sporting event, right?
I remember, my whole work career and everything like that. To me, the Masters was always the start of like winter when the Masters came on, and I remember it was just such a warm feeling that I had. And it's such a great golf tournament. I mean, there's absolutely nothing not to like. It's the same course every year. It's an immaculate condition. I can't think of a contentious. You might not like the Masters. That's the only.
Yeah, we have to drop out of that. I apologize. Yeah, let's try one more time. I apologize, but the worst thing, even worse than not having Steve would have Steve every third word. I mean, I know we often just listen to every third word Steve says, but the important thing is we hear all of them, right? And we can follow along. And this, I promise, it'll be the last time. I really want to talk to Steve because I want to talk Oilers. I'm obviously talking about the Masters right now, and he's going, I think, to the Jays game maybe tonight. So I'd like to talk to him about that as well. These are fun events that I know Steve loves, and you know Steve because he's on with us all the time. So it's important that we get this stuff out here, and it's only 9 minutes after, so we can delay a little bit. Are we ready to go with Steve? Okay, so keep going.
Where was I? Where did you lose me?
I lost you when you were saying about the Masters and the things that you've done over the years, but the Masters is what you love.
It's absolutely the best. And I said, I can't think of anything not to like, unless if you don't like things that are pretentious, you may not like the Masters.
Right.
But other than that, there's nothing there not to like, nothing.
Well, if people are tuning in to hear you talk, then they probably do like a little bit of that kind of, thing. Oh, I enjoyed that.
Some days you're just a little too smart for me. Fortunately, this isn't one of them.
There you go. Do you have any thoughts on like Rory's playing well, as mentioned? Spieth, I saw make a gorgeous shot there to get really close to the pin not long ago. Do you have a favorite in this one?
Not really. I think Rory's going to be right there. I really just want Sunday afternoon to be like must-see television. I don't want Rory to have a 6-shot lead going into the final round.
Right.
I want it to be close. And then I want to watch guys come apart piece by piece, stitch by stitch, line by line as they walk down the fairway to doom. That's what makes Sunday afternoon the best.
And I'd like Sergio to hit the ball like a million miles just once, and land it just 3 inches from the cup. That would be nice.
I must say, I've never been to the Masters, but if you said to me, we can arrange it before you kick it, I would be quite okay with that.
You're going to the Jays game this weekend, right?
Yeah, we're going tomorrow.
Nice. Yeah, it's going to be a fun time. They're an interesting team this year. The whole division, the Yankees looked like they were running away with it, and the Athletics of all teams came in and did the job for them. But I feel like if you're going tomorrow night, I'm just trying to think of who the do you know who the pitchers are?
It's Lauer for the Jays. I don't know who it is for the Twins. I don't think they'd announced the last time I looked.
I think it's Taj Bradley, but I'm not sure. But it should be a really good game. And the Jays are always interesting. Did you see them last year?
In person?
Yes.
Yeah, at the beginning of the year we were here. Yeah, we sure did.
Oh, it's Joe Ryan you're seeing tomorrow. So that's going to be
a
great pitching outing.
Yeah.
But the Twins are an interesting team. They're kind of bringing it together, but their bullpen, do you know that nobody in their bullpen throws more than 94 miles an hour?
That's good. I'll be happy with that. We'll be cheering to bring in the bullpen tomorrow. Because the Jays, dude, they need all the help they can get right now. It's like they forgot the season wasn't 3 games long. I don't know how you do that, but I think they forgot that.
You know what happened to them? Honestly, I think everybody thought Chicago was going to be bad like they've been for a while. And the White Sox are they're way better than they were. They had a hell of a series against Toronto.
Well, it's funny because when a team that really stinks starts winning, a team that's pretty good has to lose. Like it is literally a mathematical certainty. But I'll be honest with you. I still don't love the Jays pitching. Savage not being there is absolutely sucks. I can't tell you how much that sucks. Ponce breaks his leg or whatever the hell he did. I don't even know. I watched it enough times. I don't want to know what he did. All I know is he's not. But I'm sure there's worse starts, but pitching wise. But I don't know what they'd be.
Well, I thought they should have added another arm. Honest to God, I thought they were going to sign Bassett. I thought they would have another arm. Bassett's not playing well in Baltimore. I get it. I understand it. But Giolata is out there, which sounds like some kind of an ice cream, but it isn't. I felt like they needed one more. I mean, they got Corbin, but that's not the arm I was hoping for.
Does he still go today, Corbin?
Maybe.
I think he goes tonight.
Yeah.
I just think that. I get it. You got lots and lots of offense. But if you can trot, it used to be a complete gamer out there, but nobody pitches a complete game anymore.
No.
If you can trot a 6-inning guy out there 4 out of 5 days, you're going to be right there. But if you can't, it's going to be hit and miss for the whole season. You can have a great batting lineup, but, guys are going to go into slumps. Guys, Barger is going to get hurt. Guys are going to Kirk's going to break a thumb.
Yeah.
Like it's going to happen. You've got to be able to have guys that you can literally trot out there and say, you got a guaranteed 6. I don't have to worry about 7. Even if we're not winning, even if we're down by a run, that's fine. But they don't have that. They haven't had that in so long.
Yeah.
And it's just a dagger a lot of times.
It's Corbin versus Simeon Woods Richardson tonight, just so you know.
Yeah. I thought it was Corbin tonight. Yeah.
There you go. All right, let's talk Oilers. Steve, they drive me crazy. They play so bad defensively, and then the next night they fly another road game, and San Jose doesn't get a shot on goal 5-on-5 in the first period. They can do it. They can play defense. They just don't choose to sometimes. That's the only conclusion I can draw.
Dude, I don't have it in front of me. How many shots did they give up in San Jose? 14?
Something
San
like
Jose
that.
had 14 shots?
Yeah, something like that. It was low.
Yeah, I'm with you. What the hell? How is that even possible? Like, it's not like the Sharks were trying, because I'm pretty sure they were trying. It's like we can turn it on and off, and we'll just do it whenever we want. And I just don't understand that mentality. Now, the only thing that's going to save them, my friend, is if they win the division and they get an easy first one and they get a semi-easy second one with home ice advantage both times. And then when they come up against the Avs, which they would, they've got to pray that, a miracle happens and, McKinnon's out and 2 other guys are out, and that's the only way they're getting to the Stanley Cup final.
But I feel like, what you count on if you're the Oilers is that the Central beats the daylights out of each other and they show up for the semifinal, a battered group.
It's funny. I think that used to be a thing. I'm not sure it's a thing anymore. I think guys are, I haven't thought about this in a while. I think they're better conditioned now, and I think that has evened the playing field. So even if they, even if the first round, let's say Dallas and Minnesota pound the crap out of each other, I don't think that always predicates how the winning team is going to play in the next round. I think it used to, but I think that field might be a little more even now. Now watch this year prove me wrong, which would be fine, but that's my feeling.
This season is so ridiculous. They could win the division, first time since 1987, or they haven't clinched a playoff spot first. Nobody's worried about that. I'm sure they will, but it's just absolutely crazy. But do you remember because this is what I remember about 86-87. Sather was really upset they lost, and they brought in Ruotsalainen. Kent Nilsson was brought in. They traded a bunch of guys. Ramos Simonin, I believe, was gone. And they really did. They were a different team by the time they got 87, and they had loaded up a little bit. The Nilsson being added to the Anderson and Messier line really was a different kind of feel for that team. I just remember them say they're doing everything they could to make that team as strong as they could be that season. And what's your recall of 86-87?
Well, my first recall was that Glenn was pissed from start to end. And they lost the first game of that year. They lost that game in October 86. I did it in Philadelphia. They lost 2-1 to Ron Hextall. And Glenn was so snarly at that game. I remember talking to him in Philadelphia. There was a whole kerfuffle around an opening we wanted to run that talked about the Sports Illustrated article in 1986 that ran. And after Smith had scored his own night. So it was Glenn was just pissed all summer. And then he was ticked off when the season started, and I think they were ticked off all the way through. And quite frankly, without Ron Hextall, I think they win that Stanley Cup going away. But in a lot of ways, I look back and I think, man, they're lucky they managed to drag through that season, because Mike Keenan had a great team that year.
He did.
But they, God bless Glenn Anderson, who scored that goal. But I'm telling you, that was a great season of hockey from top to bottom. That's mostly what I remember.
Well, I remember the Flyers, to me, that was the greatest Stanley Cup final the Oilers were ever in. And they were like, the Flyers just kept coming back, and Hextall was, first of all, he was as far away from normal as Messier was on the other side. Hextall was a dangerous guy. And I don't mean that just like, playing goal. I mean, he could hurt people and he could cost his team with his fury, but he could also intimidate the opposition. And they had a really good team. Prop was on that team. Howe was on that team. They had a great team. And I remember the morning of Game 7 going, they lost last year. This could be it. They could never win. You get that feeling, right? Now they ended up winning it. Anderson scoring the goal with just not much time left. But that thought was in the air the morning of Game 7 for sure.
Well, especially because they led the series 3-1, and then it was 3-2, and then it was JJ Daniel scored, and it was 3-3. And it was like, you're right. I mean, that was by far the best Stanley Cup final they were in. There was more anticipation about the Islanders one in 1984, but they ended up, after that second game when Clark Gillies got a hat trick, they just, 7-2, 7-2, 5-2, whatever it was. Thanks very much for coming out. But that one against Philly, like Keenan had Philly, it reminded me of Bob Johnson in 86 with the Flames. Like Keenan did everything he could with that team to beat the Oilers. And Ron Hextall was as dialed in as I've ever seen any goalie, and not save-wise, I mean mentally. Like, you're right. Kent Nilsson's right calf could tell you all about Ron Hextall. Like, he was seriously competitive. And when you have a guy that competitive in your net, look at Billy Smith, same thing. When you're going to go a long way, and they did.
Yeah, they did for sure. All right, Lansky, thanks for this. Enjoy your weekend. We really appreciate your time, man.
My pleasure. We'll talk to you next week. I'll still be in Toronto. I'll have all kinds of updates for you.
There you go. Love it. All right. There he goes. Steve Lansky. I want to know about the Buttonville Airport. Is it still there? Or have they turned it into, a discotheque? What else do I want to know? I want to know the price of a home in Kitchener-Waterloo. And I would also like to know, I would like a 3-sentence summary about how Toronto Maple Leafs fans really feel right now.
Well, I can give you the answer on the Waterloo out of your price range.
Well, that's a given. But having said that, it's always been expensive there. But
I'm curious. Has anyone here's family gotten into oil recently? Because you might be able to afford a nice basement suite.
Maybe that. It's crazy up there. It really is. Okay. All right. We'll take a break. We're a little late. Your comments about what Lansky said about the Oilers game tomorrow afternoon, about winning the division and the playoff run. It's all ahead. Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube.
It's Truck Month at Wolf GMC Buick, and we know trucks. And we have the best deals of the year right now. Some have 0% for 4 years. We have 0% for 6 years. That's on our number one selling GMC Sierra half-ton crew cab, or the Elevation, the AT4, or Denali. Yep, 0% for 72 months. And Costco members get an extra discount on some of our SUVs. Pop in today and drive away smiling. Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
Excavators, loaders, lifts, compaction equipment, and more. Find the XCMG construction equipment you need. Available for rental or sale at Japa Machinery Group. Japa, helping build Alberta from the ground up for 50 years. Visit japamachinery.com.
This is Andrew Walker, host of the postgame show on Sports 1440. After every hockey game this season, tune in and chime in as we talk about the game. It's all sponsored by Legacy Heating and Cooling. Don't get left in the cold. Visit legacyheating.ca. This is Andrew Walker, host of the postgame show on Sports 1440. After every hockey game this season, tune in and chime in as we talk about the game. It's all sponsored by Legacy Heating and Cooling. Don't get left in the cold. Visit legacyheating.ca.
Business owners, if rising electricity costs are cutting into your profits, there's a smarter way forward. Right now, federal clean technology tax credits can cover 30 to over 50% of the cost of a commercial solar system, delivering an immediate return on your investment. And in Edmonton and Sturgeon County, the Commercial Clean Energy Improvement Program offers long-term financing for up to 20 years, making solar more affordable than ever. Lock in lower energy costs for decades and strengthen your bottom line. Visit GreatCanadianSolar.com to get started.
You matter. Your mental health matters, and you're braver than you think. Not Alone is an organization focused on creating a space of acceptance and support through tough, meaningful conversation. Use code 1440 for 15% off at notalonecode.com. It's okay to not be okay.
Hey, Dan, want to hit the bike trails this weekend?
Oh, I wish. My bike's completely messed up, though.
Looks like someone needs to go to St. Albert's Source for Sports. This spring, hit the trails and pass with confidence behind the handles of a new Specialized bike. Because you're guaranteed to keep on riding at St. Albert's Source for Sports.
Ready now?
Sort of. Got the new bike.
Nice.
But I didn't think to buy a helmet.
St. Albert's Source for Sports. Your bike headquarters for over 35 years.
Hi everyone, Sarah
and Neil
from Arcan RV.
We are back and we're celebrating spring with Arcan Days.
Well, we were always here. We've been around for 49 years.
That's true. We're kicking off another amazing RV season with some huge deals, showcasing our new brand, Krueger, Raptor Toy Haulers, and Coleman Trailers starting at just $17,999.
Plus, special finance rates on remaining 2025 models with an extra $2,500 trade-in credit. Check out arcanrv.com for details. Connecting you to RVing since 1977.
Here's the Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440, Friday edition, springtime, sunshine. I mean, if you wanted to take the vehicle out for a little bit of a cruise on the highway just to have some fun, feel the wind in your hair. I mean, a little cold for that, maybe. Some of us don't have as much hair as we used to. Gas prices mean you probably wouldn't even drive to, Spruce Grove, but it's an idea, something you might want to do. We're brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. Visit them at wolfgmcbuick.com. Edmonton Oilers are a team in the National Hockey League. And the last 3 years, they have given fans a lot to cheer for, while also falling short of the goal. And I think there's enough change in this team. And I do think the goaltending bet that was made looks like it didn't work. So I think that it's reasonable to expect that this team will fall short of what they did the last 2 seasons. I'm not saying they will, but I don't bet, but if I were going to bet, I would say they're going to lose before they hit the final. But our headliner of the day today is a person who can do that. He can change it. He can find a way. And our headliner of the day is Chris Knobloch. This season has been, for me, a absolute flummoxing decision-making by the coach, beginning with putting Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid together with Trent Frederick on the first line, game number 1 of the season, which they lost. And since then, it's been a series of very curious decisions made by the coach. The defensive adjustments were so poor, they ended up bringing Paul Coffey back, and they appear to have taken. They're a better team, although they're not consistent. They are a better team than they were certainly in the first half of the year. And we've seen some atrocious performances defensively recently, but we've also seen a 5-game winning streak, and we saw a game against San Jose that really, if it's repeatable, it's going to be fairly formidable. And in fairness to Stan Bowman, he did get them a goaltender at a very low cost in Connor Ingram. The only question is, will Ingram be healthy? Headliner of the day, Chris Knobloch. Playoff season is here. The last thing you need is debt stealing the thrill. A free consultation with the local Faber License Insolvency Trustee could be the turning point. Visit faber.ca. They are the sponsor of our headliner of the day. I always like to play along at home with the coach and with the general manager. That's kind of the reason that I write the blog. It's what we do on the show. I think that it's a good way to approach, not necessarily, pointing out all the wrong things, just looking at the options and saying, is this bet going to be worthwhile? This year, the Oilers have made some bets that not only didn't work out, but it took them a while to get off of the bet. And I'll use Alec Regula as an example. They lost Troy Stetcher to waivers, and Regula, had been off for a year. He's playing well in Bakersfield. He may be able to come back next year and perform well. I like him as a player. He's a big guy. He can move the puck. But this year wasn't the year that he was going to be able to do what they needed him to do, and they lost Stetcher doing that. They decided to move off from Stuart Skinner, even though they had a pile of money they could have spent in free agency during the summer. And Stan Bowman said at the time, one of the reasons they acquired Tristan Jarry, is because he was under contract next year, and they wanted to have that cover. So I think management and coaching this year have just never really been on the same page. And it began on July 1st when the Oilers signed a bunch of free agents, many of them wingers. And the first thing that was done by the coach at the start of the regular season was to put Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl together on a line. And I've heard all kinds of stories. Well, it was what McDavid and Draisaitl preferred. I get it. I understand. But you've got a game plan. And your game plan did involve Andrew Mangiapane. And when you abandon it, and they did really early, and Frederick wasn't ready to play that level. Frederick's playing much better now, but he's not playing on the top line. I just, if I made a list of 15 curios, we'll call them, starting with that top line in game 1, all down the line, losing Stetcher, making the trade for Jarry, honestly, I have to tell you, there are reasons why this team isn't, in my opinion, just my opinion, as strong as they were 1 year ago entering the playoffs, even though they're going to win the division or could win the division. Headliner of the day is brought to you by Faber.ca. Playoff season is here, and the last thing you need is debt stealing the thrill. A free consultation with a local Faber licensed insolvency trustee could be the turning point. Visit Faber.ca. You guys have any ideas, any comments about what I just said about the coach? Like, am I making this up, or was there a series of curious decisions made by the coaching staff this year?
I mean, I like curious decisions almost implies like kind of a nefarious nature. Like for me, it was all like, if you want to use curious as the phrasing, sure, but it was like panic. Like I use that word a lot. It was like panis, and it was like almost kind of degree of not knowing what to do or just being too nervous about going things one way, thinking that it may not work out, and kind of maybe like easy road instead of what possibly could be the right move for like fear. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I'm not wording it the best, which is maybe becoming a bit of a running trend here lately. So apologies, but I hope you get what I'm saying.
Well, and also, I mean, we don't know. Maybe they just decided, man, we can't trust these other guys. But it you know,
but it's almost like they're like, we don't even want to try just in case it doesn't work out. Like that's been the vibe.
Yeah, they had opening night. They had Henrique was on a line with Ike Howard. Vasily Podkolzin was on the fourth line. Draisaitl and McDavid were on the top line. And Nuge was kind of stone alone. And as you see how the year rolled along, I mean, Podkolzin is a feature player now. I feel as though this team, if they lose out early, are really going to have to look at what the decisions were made on July 1. Why were they abandoned so quickly? And what was the communication? Because we heard through the grapevine that when they lost Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final, one of the frustrating things from an organizational point of view was the deployment of some of the defensemen, or the frustration that some of the defensemen were hurt. And certainly Matthias Ekholm was. And Paul Coffey left. So the conclusion we drew was that, well, you know, they're moving on because Coffey isn't really the guy. And then they bring Coffey back later in the year around the Olympics. It feels like it. You know what it feels like? It feels like we are not privy to what the conversations are, but there's an internal tug of war going on. That's what it feels like. It feels like there's a sense that not everybody's on the same page. And when you have that happen in a year, often there are changes after the season. And I'm not wishing for that. I don't like when people lose their job. It sucks. But I don't know how you can return this group again when they July 1, they sign a bunch of free agents. Opening night, those free agents are sent pell-mell willy-nilly across the roster, and they go right back to the thing they always say they want to avoid, which is McDavid and Draisaitl together. And they want to get a partner for Nurse. They have one. They've got an ace in the hole with Stetcher, but they are so worried about losing Alec Regula on waivers. They waive Stetcher, and he gets picked up by Toronto. And then the goaltending.
Remember Josh Brown getting a 3-year deal?
Yeah.
That seems like a lifetime ago.
Yeah, it does.
Pretty crazy.
Cray. He has actually played pretty well in Bakersfield, but I mean, that's not, I don't know. Maybe that is why they signed him, to be in Bakersfield. One of the stories we'll be following, maybe on the great Jason Gregor show, TJ Hughes is no longer playing college hockey, right? They lost.
Correct. He plays for North Dakota, right?
I thought it was Michigan.
Well, either way, I know both North Dakota and Michigan lost. They were upsets.
Right. Okay. So Hughes is a free agent now, and the Oilers were heavily in Michigan. They were heavily rumored to be involved. Former Brooks Bandit TJ Hughes. That would be an interesting get for the Edmonton Oilers if it comes to pass, and it could happen quickly. Like, that's one of those things where a guy's college season ends, can sign right away. The Oilers have been very aggressive in college free agents. We've talked about it a lot on this show. That would open up another can of worms.
Mm-hmm.
You know, do you think we'll see the young signing they've already gotten from the college rank, Owen Michaels, right-handed center? You think we'll see Owen Michaels before the end of the year?
No, I don't think so. The team's a little too banged up. I think they're going to be focusing more on keeping their play consistent. And I know they talk about not wanting to win the Pacific, but winning the Pacific, securing home ice for longer, and making sure that everyone that's going to be on the playoff roster is as dialed in as they can be. And also Zach Hyman returns, so getting his
that's a big deal.
Timing back and everything, right?
Yeah.
We'll be back tomorrow.
The Leon phrasing is vague. What do you guys think about, like, because it's like he could return, maybe. It's like when your dad promises you something when you're a kid and you really don't know if you're ever going to get it.
It's always a tough.
That the dad thing threw a wrench in there, but I think the Leon thing is fine.
Well, take dad.
I mean, like this is
Say
just
mom.
the way the NHL works,
Right.
right? Like they aren't very particularly forthcoming on any particular stances. No one? Okay, maybe someone on the text line will get that one. But anyways, like
went over my head.
It was from Hamilton. Anyways,
Could you sing us one of the songs?
No, absolutely
Come
not.
on.
No,
Come on.
No.
It's a beautiful.
I could give a rip. I am not singing Hamilton live on radio.
Sing that
a
now,
cappella.
sir.
Absolutely
I demand
not.
it.
Anyways, dry.
That's an order.
I think he'll be back. I go back to what Rachel said on the program, whatever, a month ago when she was on here. And she's like, I speak German. Like they don't have playoffs. Next round, like that's what he's talking about, whatever. I think I'm a little more inclined to believe that we don't know if he's hit the ice yet. That's not something they're going to tell us if he does. Or they'll tell us, but we won't see any video of it. So I think game 1 of the playoffs should be fine. Game 3, maybe maximum. IMO.
137, just before we take a break. Ladies and gentlemen, singing Satisfied from Alexander Hamilton. Here is Josh.
Absolutely not. Satisfied? I can't even go to that octave.
You get on it.
Nope.
Do they rap in Hamilton?
All the time.
Yeah.
Rap a little.
No.
Oh, there's a great one. What's the one where do the rap one that he's doing, the whatever it's called?
What, the cabinet battle?
I
don't know the words to that one.
I don't know. Okay.
Well, good try.
All right. Well, I thought maybe I could,
In high school, our English teacher, we watched Hamilton in high school.
Yeah.
Our English teacher, I have the photo somewhere on my phone. During COVID, he recorded himself saying, "You'll be back," and said, "You're not allowed to have your phones out."
But you did anyway.
And I'll show you this video that I recorded during COVID. We're like, okay, I didn't take the photo. It was my friend in another class that took it. And then all of us had this photo of him wearing a crown.
Nice.
And like just the most perfect still frame.
You know what? I like that teacher, whoever it is.
Mr. Stewart.
Yeah,
he was a great guy.
Highly creative.
Also, Flames fan.
Yeah.
Got off on the right foot.
Well, I love learning about your teachers because Declan has a wonderful story about his grade 1 teacher he loved.
My grade 1 teacher was Mrs. Rasho. She was awesome.
My grade 1 teacher
was say the same name for a second. I almost flipped out.
Andrews?
Yeah.
No.
My grade 1 teacher was Mrs. Norman, and I loved her. And when some kids in grade 3 said they called her Iron Pants as she walked by, I cried. I was so upset that they would say anything bad about Mrs. Norman, who was a great lady.
We had a music teacher when I was in grade 5 and 6. His name was Mr. Funk, but it had an E at the end. My buddy Aiden. This is so funny.
Oh, my God.
We sent him to go say hi to the new music teacher like our teacher did. And he thought his name was Mr. Funky. And we had all these ideas of who this teacher was and what he was going to be. He did not live up to those expectations.
Well, not exactly funkadelic then.
No, not exactly. No.
All right, there you go. Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube.
One app, triple the action. Play Alberta is proof that good things do come in threes. Whether you're into playing any of our exciting casino games, betting on your favorite professional sports teams from around the world, or buying into Canada's biggest lotteries, Play Alberta is the province's only app to do it all. Download today and discover a new way to play. Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, use your game sense.
The Spruce Grove Saints have clinched their spot in the Rogers BCHL Cup playoffs.
Catch all the first-round action at the Thompson Family Arena, one of the most exciting junior hockey atmospheres around. Feel the energy, hear the crowd, and be part of the playoff push as the Saints battle for the cup. For tickets or information, follow the Spruce Grove Saints on social media or visit sgsaints.ca. The Spruce Grove Saints are playoff bound. Don't miss your chance to be there.
It's go time. Go, Saints, go.
shoulder pain. It can make even the simplest things like reaching up, lifting a bag, brushing your teeth, or sleeping frustrating. Rotator cuff strains, impingement, arthritis, they're some of the most common issues we treat every day. I'm Grant Fedoruk, and at Leading Edge Physio, our team brings postgraduate training, evidence-based technology, and just the right amount of humor and humility to help you feel better. Because we never forget the most important part, the gratitude we feel for every patient who allows us the opportunity to care for them. Because life shouldn't hurt. When it does, leadingedgephysio.com.
At Fountain Tire, the savings come in threes. Up to 25% off select tires, a mail-in rebate of up to $100 off a set of 4 select tires, and $50 off a $150 service. We're basically the BLT of savings until April 25th. Restrictions apply. Book today.
Good to go. With Mortgages to Go, you'll be good to go. MortgagesToGo.ca says yes when the banks say no. That's why Alberta has trusted Mortgages to Go for over 23 years. If you need cash and have equity in your home, you're approved instantly, guaranteed. Call 1-888-888-5998. That's 1-888-888-5998. With Mortgages to Go, you'll say, good to go.
It's here. The Ford, it's a big Not yet. The Ford, it's a big deal. Oh, guys, just wait. The Ford, it's a big deal event is on. Really? Now. Hurry in to lease a 2026 F-150 STX with black adherence package from $237 bi-weekly at 0% APR for 36 months with $54.90 down. That's like $119 a week. The Ford, it's a big deal event. Visit your Alberta Ford store or Ford.ca.
The Lawnmower Hospital. You've enjoyed a long winter with your Ego snowblower, but now it's the time to get ready for spring. Bring your summer Ego equipment in for service. Or if you're looking to add to your lawn care fleet with new mowers or trimmers, Ego has a wide selection of products to fit every season. Ego also has the powerful wet-dry vacuum and pressure washer to make your cleaning and lawn care a breeze.
We're more than repairs. We're more than mowers. The Lawnmower Hospital.
You need the lowdown? It's with Lowetide right now on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
Brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. Friday, final segment. Jason Krueger on the way. We have another no-hitter going on. Shota Imanaga is no-hitting the Pittsburgh Pirates currently. 5.1 innings, 8 strikeouts, 1 walk. Now he's got 94 pitches, so he won't be able to complete the no himself, but pretty cool. I love afternoon baseball. It is the best. I don't have anything else to say there. I just, I really love afternoon baseball. Seuss says, Knobloch, I haven't been a fan since the day he was hired. He needs to stop resorting to playing 97 and 29 on the same line, not working, falls into a trap. They don't get it done this season. It's time to move on. Moment as well. He's had some horrendous July 1st. Well, I'm going to disagree on both. Number one, I don't like Chris Knobloch has taken them to 2 Stanley Cup finals in his 2 seasons. So even if they get, blown out in the first round, depending upon how it happens, I still think that you could make a case to keep him. But I also think that this year especially, he may have missed a lieutenant like Glenn Gulletson, who's been around the block a time or two. And all of us have, we make mistakes, right? And I think that this year, more than the first 2 years, Chris Knobloch has done more things to that could be questioned. And maybe he doesn't have the right sounding board, or, Craig McTavish once famously said, when he came back to be the general manager or the consultant, he said, I'm here to be the guy in the room who says, are you sure you want to do that? And I think that's a good person to have. You need all kinds, like the three of us in this room are not the same personalities, right? And I think that makes the show better. If we were all the same, it'd kind of be boring. We'd all be talking about Coco LeBoy, the third baseman of the Montreal Expos in 1969. I would love it personally, but probably not for a mass audience. I think I think it's very possible Chris Knobloch returns, but with a different coaching staff, or at least some change in the coaching staff in the fall. As far as Stan Bowman is concerned, yes, there have been mistakes. I think the Tristan Jarry trade was a mistake, but there have also been some good things. Vasily Podkolzin has worked out. I really do think it was a genuinely good bet on Connor Ingram. That's worked out. I don't know that there's any general manager anywhere gets everything right. But Zito's done a good job in Florida. And the one thing that Zito did in Florida is he didn't overspend on anything. Like the contracts that were given out were generous, but they weren't 18 years times 11 million. And I'm obviously embellishing. Knobloch's coaching this year reeks of desperation. I believe he's just hanging on for dear life at this point, being outcoached by all the witty veteran coaches in the league. Greater Man Jay. Do you think any coach, this is from Seuss, do you not think any coach would have really taken us to the final? Team that did the job, they were destined to get the final. I feel potentially with a better coach, we would have had a smoother ride to the final. Well, they changed up some things though, right? Like some veterans left and some veterans came in, and it turned out not to be a good deal. Corey Perry's having a far better year than Andrew Mangiapane, as an example. Victor Arvidsson recovered his career after having a tough year here. What year did Connor Brown leave? Was that last summer? He definitely hasn't been replaced. But Savoy has played well. Podkolzin has stepped up, I think, and playing a larger role. They needed a goalie, man. Looking back on this year, the Tristan Jarry trade for me looms large. Maybe he can get it back together, or maybe Connor Ingram does it. But man, you needed to. The one thing you could do, I don't care what team you are, no matter what kind of garbage team you are, if you can get a goalie who can stop pucks, you can go farther than anybody thought you would. Hello, Winnipeg Jets. Bad example. They never go anywhere. But you get my point. I like Jarry. I just didn't think he was such an upgrade. And he did have a reputation of not playing, exceptionally well in big playoff games. I don't know if I buy that, to be honest with you. I think that's a lot of, circumstance, and, teams sometimes are just outmatched in a playoff series. But it's all water under the bridge now. They have their goaltender for next year, and it's Tristan Jarry. They don't even have their best goaltender secured next year. And I do think you can criticize the general manager for that. But I don't think he's going to be fired. Kosa would be a potential future number one, but not likely during the cup window. Outside of fractured Demko, I don't see any true number one goalies that could be available. We went over this a while ago, and it's tough, man. Goalie Bob. I'd like to get one of those damn Calgary Flames goaltenders.
Too bad you can't have them. They're mine. They're under contract for at least 2 years. So,
well, a trade could be done, sir.
I'm sorry, Conroy is not making a trade with the. What do the Oilers have to offer?
No, but he can't make a trade. He cannot make a trade with the Oilers. He can't do it because if the Oilers win a Stanley Cup,
and also Bowman can't make a trade with the Flames, because if he goes and trades for something from the Flames and they win the cup, it's like pff, Oilers fans are gonna be like, man, I can't believe the missing piece was Blake Coleman.
I like Coleman. Of course, I like Mangiapane too.
You guys could use a guy like Coleman.
No. By the way, Imanaga is up to 9 strikeouts with no hits.
How many innings is this again?
I think it's through 6 now.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Well, in today's Major League, in this economy, that's great.
9Ks, not bad. Of course,
Smooth.
it's no Cease or Gosman.
Well,
for
there you
6.
go. No. Smoother path to the finals. Last year, we dog walked the West from Lance. Well, Dallas had a problem with the Oilers. They just did. And the Oilers ended up sending their coach packing.
I don't have that problem this year. 8-1, 7-3.
Can't forget about those.
Well, we'll see. I mean, I'm not going to write
on.
the playoff script based on the regular season.
Oh, hey,
I'll
it's
write
a totally
it.
different game.
I'll write it a little bit.
However, yeah.
I won't write it. I won't write the last page, but I'll write a nice draft.
Man, I have seen some goaltending performances out of the blue in my time. I would never, ever say never on anything, but I think it's unlikely. And I think the goalie who could go on that streak in Edmonton is not named Tristan Jarry.
Oh yeah, it's definitely Connor Ingram. Yeah, listen, you can't say anything with certainty in the NHL playoffs. No way, no how. There's just way too much unpredictability. But you can get a pretty good base script down. Like the Screenwriting Association would be happy with you. They'd be like, that's a good start.
And yet, Josh mentioned it earlier. They do have a framework of a defensive system, not that they can play it consistently.
Yeah. And like the one to think about, the game really to think about with all of this is the Colorado game they played a few weeks back. Obviously, Nathan McKinnon misses, what was it, the entire third period or half of the third period?
I can't remember now.
I can't remember the specifics, but he misses time of the third period. And it was 1-goal game. It was close. They played very well defensively, and they won, the Oilers, obviously. But that was without a top 3 player in the league on the ice, missing 6 shifts or something.
Yeah. All right. I enjoyed today, gentlemen. I love the Declinations. Enjoyed the convo with Steve. Thank you very much, Declan, for finally getting him on the air. I guess Toronto doesn't have a lot of technology that they're unable to get phone conversations through. That's okay. Jason Krueger on the way. Please enjoy your weekend. Thanks for tuning into the Lowdown.
Brought to you by Sean Cunningham, Remax Real Estate. Get the home team advantage for your next move in the Edmonton area. If you're thinking about buying or selling a home, call or text Sean directly, 780-265-0165. Masters scores currently atop the leaderboard. Rory McIlroy at 7 under. He's -2 on the day on hole number 7. Justin Rose and Jason Day, along with Patrick Reed, all tied for second at 5 under. Highest Canadian in the field is Nick Taylor. He is tied for 22nd, even through 2. The other Canadian expected to make the cut as of right now, Corey Connors at 4 over. MLB scores right now see the Pirates and the Cubs tied 0-0, and the Toronto Blue Jays will be in action. 5:07 first pitch against the Twins. Corbin on the mound in that one. The Toronto Raptors will be in New York to take on the Knicks with a 5:30 tip. The line for that one, New York -6.5 and the over-under 220.5. A late game today in the league will see the Phoenix Suns and the Los Angeles Lakers. BCHL playoff, Sherwood Park in Blackfalds to take on the Bulldogs. 7 p.m. puck drop for that one. Sherwood Park leading the series 3-1. And in the AJ Whitecourt in Grand Prairie with a 7 p.m. puck drop at JDA Place, that series currently tied 2-2. I'm Declan Krueger. This has been a Sports 1440 update.